What's up, guys? Sarah Winstead here, bikini athlete and coach for Pro Physique. Coming at you this week with a great question that I got from one of my Instagram followers. So if you follow me on Instagram, you can send me some DMs, send me some questions to answer in future YouTube videos. I want to make sure that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. So also subscribe, comment below, all the things. But this week's question is actually in regards to what is my maintenance calorie range? What do I maintain my body weight off of? What kind of calories am I eating? Where is that, number one? And then where does it need to be in order to maybe lose some weight, build some muscle mass, and kind of, craft that towards your goals? So it's a great question. Now, a lot of us may reach for an online calorie calculator when we're looking for our maintenance calories. Well, those can be helpful. Those could be a data point, but a lot of those online calculators don't take into account like your dieting history, maybe how long you might have been chronically under eating or over consuming food. It doesn't take into account, it has a rough activity level measurement, but it may not be exactly what you are doing personally. And so when getting started on any sort of nutrition journey with regards to fitness and improving our overall health, lifestyle, wellness, or even competing, it can be very helpful to know where we are in terms of overall maintenance calories and our overall metabolic capacity. So how do we do that? Number one, buy a food scale. Very, very important, because this gives us the most accurate data possible, allows us to dive deeper into portion sizes. You actually get to learn portion sizes by weighing out and measuring your food over time. It's one of the great skills that allows you to eyeball food when you go out to dinner. So I love investing in a digital food scale. Number two, invest in a food tracker that is an app on your phone of some kind. It could be My Macros Plus, Lose It, My Fitness Pal, Fat Secret. There's a ton of different tracking apps out there. Go ahead and download one. Number two, part two of that, ignore the calories it gives you. It has most likely an online calorie calculator associated with it, so it could spit out a number at you that has no bearing on you as a person, and it just be a really random number. And it could be way over or way under where you need to be. So invest in the fitness tracker and the nutrition tracker, invest in a digital food scale. For about a week, start getting used to tracking your foods, i.e. scanning some barcodes on some foods, weighing out your foods on a digital food scale. I recommend for things like egg whites, using a cup on your food scale or a bowl. And then of course, paper plates are fantastic for anything else that's like loose items like fruits, vegetables, anything that's not really super packaged. Put it on your food scale, zero it out, get the tare on there, and then add in your foods. Now, do that for about a week. It can be very tedious sometimes. I wouldn't recommend using like measuring cups or anything like that, because they can be very deceiving as far as like, ooh, am I over, am I under, is it a rounded measuring cup? Because that can be calories that we are either not tracking or going over or going under. So that's why I love the food scale, weighing out all of your foods in grams. This includes your meats. And so for meats, what you can do is it comes with a package. Maybe it's like a pound of meat, like ground beef or something like that. It is a certain amount of ounces, usually a pound, 16 ounces. You can convert that to grams, just over 700 grams if I'm doing my math correctly. Now, the raw weight is going to be different than the cooked weight. As meat is cooked, it loses water. It doesn't lose any nutrients. It just loses water. So that's going to be smaller on the scale. So what I'd recommend doing is if you do up like a pound of ground beef for like some tacos one day, make it all up and then weigh it cooked, and then portion it up, and then put that cooked weight and track that cooked weight in your fitness tracker. So it can take a little bit of time to get used to things like meats, as well as things like if you buy like the big bags of rice from like Costco or something like that that's uncooked. Make sure you follow the directions and make sure you do the raw weight versus the cooked weight. Again, doesn't really lose any nutrients, but something like a rice gains mass. It becomes a whole lot bigger when you're done with it. You're like, oh wow, that was like a tiny bit of rice and it made this much. So getting used to that, one of the reasons why I love things like ready rice, to where I don't have to do the conversions in my brain. I also love like frozen meats or prepackaged meats and things like that as well, because they're already cooked out. It's there, it's done. You don't have to do the math there too. So doing all these things, it can be very tedious and very daunting. Don't worry about it. You're going to get better at this. It's just like learning any new skill or any new habit over time. You're going to get better at your food scale. You're going to get better at logging and working at your food and tracking it over time. Do that for about a week. then you can look back at your fitness, at your nutrition tracker and be like, okay, where were my calories? Okay, maybe one day I was at like 1,800. Then I went to dinner, I went up to 2,200. You know, making sure you are loosely tracking meals out. That's very important. There's a lot of restaurants that are similar in your nutrition trackers. So for me, anytime I have like a steak or a filet out, I'll use a comparable steak from like a Longhorn that is going to be pretty similar. So after the week, you kind of look over, be like, okay, I was up here, I was down here, I was up here. It's going to look like this every single day. Track everything. Do not change your habits. Put in the cookies, the brownies, the donuts, the alcohol. It matters because, again, that all contributes to your overall maintenance calorie range and your overall current metabolic capacity. So once you've done that for a week, you can look at the trends and you can average it out to see kind of where's my protein, where's my carbs, and where's my fats. Because your fitness tracker should also be tracking your macronutrients. That's protein, carbs, and fats. There are 4 calories per gram for protein and carbs and 9 calories per gram for fats. And so assessing your overall macronutrient intake along with your calories, because in my opinion, macros are vastly more important than calories, because we could be eating 1,900, 2,000 calories, but we could be under consuming things like protein. Protein is the hardest thing to get for a lot of people, especially my females out there, but it's the building block of muscle mass, and in my opinion, one of the most important macronutrients that we have to consume. They're all important, but protein is vital, and our needs actually increase as we age. So things to keep in mind. But once you have the data, once you have the numbers, and put some great numbers and some great averages to it, you can then decide, okay, where do I go from here? What's next for me? You know, am I maintaining my weight? For females, a lot of females come to me maintaining their weight on 1,300 calories. They're like, I want to diet. And I'm just like, no, we're not going to diet on 1,300 calories, especially if you're maintaining your weight, because where do we go from there? 1,100 calories? 1,900? Like, that's just not sustainable, or you're able to be consistent for anybody. So why do it? And so at that point, you know, if you find yourself in a metabolic hole a little bit, you can reach out to a coach. You can shoot me an email saying, hey, what do I do here? A lot of times we need to go through what's called a reverse diet. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that's one of the seasons of bodybuilding is a reverse dieting phase. Building up the metabolic capacity, getting our metabolism back into a great place, because your body is very adaptive, both from a negative standpoint of underconsumption and from a positive standpoint of going through a reverse diet and adapting to a higher calorie amount. So, but if you are a little bit overweight and want to lose some body fat and you have enough wiggle room with your calories, say you're eating like 2,500 calories, you've been maintaining your weight. That's a great place to start a fat loss phase. Then you have enough calories to take away from and, you know, still make progress towards your fat loss goals and things like that. Again, this is where hiring a coach could be very, very helpful to make sure that you're being intentional, they're holding your feet to the fire, you're staying accountable and true to your goals, and you're making progress each and every week. So I hope that kind of just helps you guys kind of kickstart your fitness journey as far as overall maintenance calories go. Again, it's a range. Getting more data through weighing out your foods, putting them into a fitness tracker, learning about foods, especially food labels, how to read them, and just overall over time, you're gonna get even better at it. But kickstarting it off, find your maintenance calorie range, and then you can definitely assess where your goals are, where you go from there, and if, of course, if you want to hire a coach or something like that to help you along with that journey, that's a great idea too. So if you have any other questions for me, shoot them in the comment section, like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.